guys, so I've been thinking a lot about the things that I wish someone had told me when I was younger, not the cheesy stuff that adults throw at you, because they don't know what to say, like be yourself or don't worry, secondary goes by really quickly. I mean the real stuff, the stuff you only learn after you've cried in a bathroom stall or stayed up at 2 a.m. overthinking your entire existence, the stuff that actually would have helped. And I think the first thing I wish I knew is that life is not a race. When you're a teenager, everything feels like a countdown. Like you're supposed to have your personality figured out, your future mapped out, your friend group locked in, your identity polished and ready to present to the world. But the truth is, nobody even knows what they're doing. Even the people who look like they know what they're doing, they are just improvising with more confidence or better outfits. And honestly, that ties into something else I wish I understood. You won't feel the way you feel right now forever. When you're young, emotions hit like hurricanes. Everything feels like the underworld because your brain is literally rewriting itself. You're not dramatic, you're developing. That's okay. You're allowed to feel things deeply. You're allowed to be confused. You're allowed to have the language for what you're experiencing yet, or not have the language, whatever. You're allowed to be confused. I also wish that you don't need to be extraordinary to be worthy. Growing up, it feels like everyone has a thing. Someone's a smart one, someone's a pretty one, someone's the athletic one, someone's the funny one. And if you don't have a thing, you feel like you're falling behind. But you're not. You're allowed to just exist. You don't need to be impressive to be enough. And speaking of enough, I wish I knew that you're allowed to change. You're allowed to reinvent yourself. You're allowed to wake up one day and decide you don't like the things that you used to like, or that you want to dress differently, or that you're done being the quiet one, or the people pleaser, or the one who always says yes. You're not a character in a show, you're a person, and you are allowed to evolve out of who you used to be. And that evolution, it's messy, it's uncomfortable, it's full of moments where you feel like you're losing yourself, when really you're just shedding the old versions of you that you've outgrown. That's not failure, that's growth. Something else I wish I knew is that friendships change, and I think this was the hardest lesson for me. It's normal for friendships to change. The people you're close at 16 might not be the people you're close to at 20 or 25, and that doesn't mean the friendship was fake or pointless. Some people are meant to be chapters, not the whole book. And also, the number of friends you have matters way less than how you feel around them. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to how your body feels after spending time with someone. Do you feel lighter, heavier, drained, inspired? Your body knows before your brain does. And while we're on the topic of people, relationships. Oh my god, I wish someone had told me that someone liking you is not a good enough reason to date them. Attention is not affection. Chemistry is not compatibility. And the bare minimum, texting back, being honest, showing up, it's not romantic. It's basic human decency. And don't make the mistake of confusing consistency with love. Don't confuse intensity with connection. And please, please don't try to fix someone with love. You can support someone, but you cannot saving them. Healing is very much an inside job. And your first heartbreak, it will feel like the end of the world. It will feel like your chest is collapsing on itself, but it's not the end. It is the beginning of you understanding yourself. Heartbreak is very much a mirror. It shows what you value, what you need, what you won't tolerate again. And school is another thing that I wish I had perspective on. I wish I knew the grades. The grades do not define your intelligence. It feels very much that they do, but they don't. School measures how well you can memorize things that you'll forget in 2 weeks. It doesn't measure your creativity or your empathy or your resilience or your curiosity, the things that actually matter in life. And you don't need to know your career at 16 or 18 or 25. Most adults are still figuring it out. Life is not linear. You are allowed to pivot. And honestly, I wish I knew basic life skills earlier, like how to budget, how to save money, how to not spend everything on clothes I'll hate in 6 months, or food. I wish I knew that buying things to impress people is a losing game because people aren't thinking about you nearly as much as you think they are. And I wish I knew the experience mattered more than stuff. Memories last longer than trends. Creativity is another thing. I wish I knew you don't need to be good at something to enjoy it. You can paint badly, you can write badly, you can dance badly. You're allowed to do things simply because they make you happy. Perfectionism kills creativity. Start before you're ready. Make bad art. It's still art. And family. That's a big one. I wish I knew that you are not responsible for fixing your family. You can love them deeply without carrying their emotional weight. You can break cycles without breaking relationships. You can honor where you come from without being defined by it. You are the next chapter, not the previous one. And if I could wrap all of this into one final thing, it would be this. Life is long. You have time, more than you think. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to grow slowly. You are allowed to not have the answers yet. You are allowed to be a work in progress. And you are becoming someone you will be proud of, even if you can't see it yet. So guys, I think that was it, really. I know it was very heavy, and it was a lot. But honestly, if there's one thing that I've learned, one thing that I wish I could whisper to my younger self, or to anyone who feels like they're stumbling through life blindfolded, is that you don't need to rush your becoming. You don't need to have the answers yet. You don't need to be perfect or impressive or extraordinary. You just need to be here, learning, trying, growing, messing up, starting again. Because the truth is this, life isn't something you figure out once. It's something you figure out over and over again. Every year, every season, every version of you will teach you something new. And that's not a sign that you're lost. It's a sign that you're alive. You're allowed to take your time. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to outgrow people, places, dreams, and versions of yourself that no longer fit. You're allowed to choose peace over approval, and you are allowed to choose yourself. And maybe the most comforting thing of all is this. You're not behind, you're not late, you're not failing, you're just becoming, slowly, quietly, and beautifully, in ways you won't even notice until one day you look back and think, wow, I really did make it through that. I really did. So if no one has told you this recently, I am proud of you for surviving things you didn't think you'd get through, for growing in ways that no one saw, for trying again when it would have been easier to give up, for being here right now listening to this, wanting better for yourself. That matters. You matter. And your story, it's very much just the beginning. Alright guys, that's all I've got for today. Thank you for hanging out with me for 10 minutes. Take care of yourself, and I will see you soon.